So we're up on Sims. It's Sunday, last weekend in April, and training day for George and Rick. Their first time rowing a raft. Each of them have their own raft at this point on Class 3 whitewater. See how it goes. Alright, George's first solo oar framing Class 3 whitewater. Good morning, everybody. George Williams Sr. here. Hey, I took my son out and a friend out, and they went first time Class 3 oar frame paddling in their rafts, and I let my son use my raft here, and my buddy Rick had his own raft, and we stepped it up from Class 1-2 stuff on the local river down here to the upper stretches into Class 3 whitewater. NRS has been asking me to do a review online. They sent me an email of this rear stern oar frame that I bought from them. Well, first of all, let me go with is I didn't buy this oar frame as a single unit. I bought it in two parts. I bought just this part and the seat without the crossbar separately, and then I had them cut me a crossbar and I bought it separately. And even with the surcharges that NRS charges, that saved me a little over $100. I already had ordered my towers, so I had those that I didn't have to buy that with the frame. All right, so what I love about this frame is I like paddling from the stern. If I have passengers in my front of my boat, it puts me way in the back. So when I ship my oars and have to do anything or I'm rowing, I'm not banging into my passengers. And I have, for the way I paddle, I have better control as a stern rower. But when I'm solo paddling, I set this in the middle. I like multiple use products, so with this stern frame I can set it in the middle as you see here, or set it clear on the back of the stern back here, and I can row from the stern of the boat. So that is the biggest positive plus I have for this system. I like to be able to be versatile and move stuff around when I'm either doing it with a group or doing it by myself. So the aluminum's great. So far it's held up. I've only had this out on the river 4 times now, and everything works really well. The downside, the cons of this system, is it comes with a swivel seat. So you can see this seat moves. And the seat is super comfortable, very comfortable, and you can move around, spin around backwards if you need to dink around with something or whatever. The downside of this seat is, one, it has, and let me come around, it has what these stainless steel bolts, U-bolts that clamp the seat bracket to the frame. You can't tighten them tight enough without stripping the threading on those stainless steel U-bolts. You got to be careful with that. The big problem is when you're rowing hard and you put your weight into the back of that seat, this whole thing rocks back and it falls backwards. The clamps aren't clamp enough. If you lean on the back of the seat and you're doing a heavy row, hard pull, this thing will fall off the back and rotate. Totally sucks. So that is the con with this seat system. The other bad thing about this seat system is you have to disassemble the pivot bracket and take it completely off, take the seat completely off to get to the locking brackets for the clamp plate for the seat mounts on. So if you have to fix that in the river, you got to pull over, you got to disassemble the top half of this system to get to the bottom plate to unloosen it, readjust it, and put it back in place. Now we adjusted this for my son to row in the middle, and he chose to tilt the seat forward like that, and that was more comfortable for him in the situation he was in. The problem with the seat tilted that far forward now, instead of being in a more neutral position, is now if I need to move it back as a stern system, look at the angle of that seat now. Just gonna slide right off of it. So I have to take this completely off to get to the bolts and nuts to readjust this so it sits properly as a stern seat. So that's one of the downsides to that. Otherwise, the system, I like the system. I may go back and put my plywood bench seat on there because I've always paddled with a bench seat, but I wanted to try this seat out. Super comfortable, and it's been working pretty good except for that flaw. It likes to fall off the rail and rotate off backwards. Anyway, NRS, you need to fix that, figure that out, or whoever's the manufacturers of these frames, they need to come up with another system, even with the oar towers, those stainless steel U-bolts that clamp things together. You just can't get them tight enough to where they stay. They're always sliding off. That needs to be figured out. The other problem with that is if you tighten them too tight, then the threads on that stainless steel bolt, they bend real easy and they'll strip out in a heartbeat. So you got to be careful with that. Anyway, I'm going to show you some stuff on the river from yesterday. It was quite the adventure, and we'll go from there. But as far as the frame goes, I really like this NRS stern frame. If you buy it as a complete system, you're paying over $700. I bought it as two pieces. The front crossbar, I had them cut separately, and then I bought the seat and the back bar and the sidebars as a unit. And granted, if I had to buy the oar towers with it, it would have probably cost me roughly about the same, but since I had the oar towers anyway, I saved around $150. So you guys decide what you want to do in that regard. But yeah, the brackets for the seats, that needs to be worked out with whoever's manufacturing this system. And those stainless steel U-bolts that clamp everything down, they need something different there that you can really reef down and lock that in, because right now when you reef down to its tightest and you don't dare go any farther, then you go any farther, it strips out. And I stripped out 2 U-bolts for my oar towers on a Rogue River run, trying to keep that thing locked in. And anyway, right now it seems to be doing pretty good, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, this is George Williams Sr. giving you a review on the stern frame, NRS's stern frame. Great system. I don't know if I'll keep that swivel seat on there or put my padded plank on there. We'll see how it goes. All right, I'll talk to you soon. So this is the second time I've had to adjust this seat. The stainless steel clamps on this NRS pivot seat is not clamped down very well, and if you put a lot of back pressure on the seat when you're rowing, it falls off the back side. So NRS has been asking me to give a review. Well, this is going to go into their review, that this system needs a better way of maintaining position of the seat without it rolling off the back side when you're rowing hard and leaning into that seat pretty heavy. So we've got it adjusted way forward. I think it might be a little bit too far forward, but we'll see how it compensates for him. When you get into the middle of a pretty good rapid like that one coming down, and there's a sweeper tree 3/4 of the way off of it, and your seat falls off the back when it's tightened down as hard as you can with these stainless steel bolts. Not cool. Alright, so here's where we're at. I've decided to completely take this seat off because when it's back here, I feel like I'm way too high. And so I readjusted my oar towers, moved them forward, put my old trusty plywood padded plank back on, and this puts me lower in the boat. Feels way more comfortable. I can lean back, really row hard. So this works great for my rear stern, and I know it'll work great in the middle because I've paddled on these planks for decades, so it's going to work out okay. And I'll save the seat. Maybe I'll get a couple bars to put on the front and mount the seat up there for a passenger. Maybe not. We'll see how it goes. I'm not real keen on being too high up in the boat. This, if I need to get some elevation to see downriver, I can always just get up and stand on it, see what I'm doing. So I think this is the way I'm going to go, back to my old school plank system. That high-tech seat system is just too much hardware to go wrong. So in conclusion, NRS, your stern frame system with the swivel seat doesn't stay mounted properly, falls backwards, can't get it clamped down tight enough. I'm going back to my old school system, just putting a flat plank, padded plank back here. I can move around, I can do some fishing back here, and I think that's the way I'm going to go. Super simple, low tech, not high tech, little hardware, straps down with just cam straps, and good to go. I think that's what I'm going to do with this system. All right, that will conclude my review for the NRS stern frame and how I personally like it. And we'll see you guys out on the river. Happy paddling, and we'll catch you on the wet side. George Williams Sr. Talk to you later.